All right. So, for our last session, what I will be teaching you is a different set of analysis tools in a way that would tell us what we call significance. So, what is that all about? Sometimes our data can be what we call heterogeneous. Meaning, depending on a certain background or depending on a certain perspective, people may have different answers or different responses to the same question or different reactions to the same stimulus. So, probably for example, I tell you a joke, you will have different volumes of laughter. Or I tell you a sad story, different degrees of sad reacts. Okay? So, may mga ganon. Okay, may mga ganon tayong instances. So, the question is, how significant are those differences? Bakit? Anong silbi nun? Relating it, let's say, to business. For example, advertising. For advertising. You gotta notice that even for the same commercial or the same TV ad, there are different versions of it. Diba? The different versions of it. Or sometimes yung method wherein they localize the same commercial. Let's say, either they dubbed it in Filipino, like it was an English ad, and then they dub it in Filipino, so on and so forth. Of course, ang expectation is there will be certain reactions. Yeah, there will be certain reactions. But the question is the difference of the reaction between an English ad and a Filipino ad or a Tagalog ad, is it significantly different enough to justify the additional costs that we incur because we Tagalize it? There's a cost There's a cost to translate it, to hire a voice actor, to dub it. No, may cost yun. So are the costs justifiable enough? So what we're going to try to learn today is what we call, is it significantly different enough? That's the big question that we will try to answer by doing what I'm going to teach you today. Okay, so, for instance, if we look at the same questionnaire or the same data as I'm seeing here right now, like maybe are there some differences between genders in the way they respond? Okay, to the same questions. Maybe also differences in the age groups. Some people, there's always a joke that, especially for this topic on privacy, that the older you get, the more paranoid you are when it comes to privacy. And then younger people tend to be less caring about their privacy concerns compared to the older people. Okay, so is that true? Okay, is that true? And if it's true, how, again, significantly different enough are these differences? Kasi ang gusto mong mangyari, okay, fine, may difference. Pero, is it statistically different enough para pansinin mo siya? That's the point. Because if there is a difference, pero hindi siya statistically significant enough, it's not justifiable na pagtuunan mo pa siya ng pansin. Okay? Wala naman effect eh. Okay, may difference, pero why would you waste time on it? Does it make a difference? Yes or no? Diba? So how do you justify the effort that you're putting in to make that difference, so to say? So that's what we're gonna try to analyze. Yeah, that's what we're gonna try to analyze this afternoon. So how do we do that? Okay. So say for example, we're gonna try to get the differences in the responses between genders. Okay. So, question is, are the responses between males and females significantly different enough? Okay. Is that, in other words, does gender have an effect on privacy, on perceptions of trust and privacy? Remember, as you recall from the last time, we already have some of the variables here that we have gotten the mean scores with. So what are we going to try to learn would be, meron bang difference, let's say here, between males and females? Okay. So how do we do it? Okay, let me put your attention towards analyze. And then we look at, there are two ways to do it. Either we look at comparing means, meaning we do a t-test. Okay, I'll describe that in a while. But I want to go first here to, general linear model, either univariate or multivariate. Now, what's the difference? The univariate is your ANOVA, or analysis of variance. The analysis of, when you're using univariate, meaning you only have one dependent variable. Okay, one dependent variable. In multivariate, then you will have more than one dependent variable. Ito yung MANOVA, or multiple analysis of variance. Yeah, ANOVA and MANOVA. I think you touched a little bit back on this on BA182. A bit. Okay, so yun yung method. If the question is, if your research is more on this, trying to get relationships, then the method that you're going to use is either univariate or multivariate general linear modeling, or otherwise known as ANOVA or MANOVA. But recall, if you're looking for relationships and associations, then that's where we use regression naman. But if the research question is does X affect Y or X influence Y, then we use regression. But if the research question is more on looking for differences between certain groups of people, then we use this method. Okay, univariate or multivariate. So let's try first univariate. Okay. So again, analyze, general linear model, and then univariate. Click on it. So here's what you're going to see. We have this window, and then what you can do is you can scroll down below. Okay. No, recall that itong mga M values natin, MCFP, MPPE, MSEFF, and MTRU are already incorporating only the question items that we've retained after factor analysis. So even if the question is looking for this, the first step that you're going to do is still factor analysis. Okay. After you've done your factor analysis, you get your mean scores. And then you produce this. Okay. So say for example, we're looking at responses between males and females for CFP, concern for privacy. So we put concern for privacy as a dependent variable. Okay. As a dependent variable here. And then we look at gender. Okay. We look at gender as our independent variable. Recall in the questionnaire, gender is indicated by a categorical variable 1 and 2. So there are two groups. Okay. When you input this to SPSS, the column will also show 1 and 2. Here. So, excuse me. You look at dependent variable. Here, you put at gender as the fixed factor. Okay, this is where you're going to put the independent variable. It's a fixed factor. Now, let me show you now all of these different okay, different buttons here. Model, okay, model, you look at, okay, you'll see this window. There's what, the default is what we call a full factorial. Kung ANOVA lang tayo, this will not matter. This will matter later on when we do MANOVA. Yeah, when we do MANOVA. Okay. Okay. Then, contrasts, you don't, okay, you only look at this. Not plots, you can actually create a graph. Okay, you can actually create a graph here showing the plots here. Post hoc. Okay. Sometimes we do a little bit of post hoc tests, so let's say gender and whatnot. For univariate, this really doesn't matter too much. It's more for multivariate. Okay, multivariate analysis here. And especially, let's say if you have more than one group, more than two groups. Okay. Options will tell you what you want. Okay, what you want to put into. Okay, what you want to put into the results afterwards. Okay. But let's try to put it for now as this one. So dependent variable is concern for privacy. Fixed factor is gender. Let's run it. So just click OK. Okay. All right. Then you're going to see these results. The first table will show you how many males, how many females. Okay, how many males, how many females that are in the model or in your data. What is more important is what you see here. You're going to look at the gender variable, and you're going to look at the F value and the corresponding significance. Okay, corresponding significance. So the threshold or the rule of thumb when it comes to this would be F value should be greater than 4. And the corresponding P value of that F value should be less than 0.05. Okay, 0.05. Now that being said, when we look at it here, we see that gender is less than 4. It's only 0.840, and significance is greater than 0.05. And here it's 0.360. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Going back here. Yan yung tanong. Therefore, gender is not significantly different. Okay. Gender is not significantly different. So, as far as privacy is concerned, there are no differences between males and females. Okay. Now, at least ito yung basic. Okay, ito yung basic. There are actually a lot more other information that we can piece out of it. So, let's go back to it. Let's say magdagdag tayo. Okay. Say in the post hoc test, here, normally, what I use is Duncan. I'll explain a little bit when we generate results. Ano bang silbi nito? So you can click on Duncan for the post hoc test. Options. Okay. Overall, gender, you can put them. Again, you have your available data here, and then you can tell what to generate. So you can look at descriptive statistics. You can look at estimates of effect size. And yeah, that's it. Actually, those two are fine. Continue. And then you can click on OK again. Once you run it, here. Alright. This will now generate you more information. Now, you will notice that ito na yan, it separated the mean and the standard deviations from male and female. Okay, from male and females. So, aside from the F test, you know that's no difference. But, here you can see here that, okay, females have a greater tendencies for concern or greater concerns for privacy based on the mean. Nakita nyo, 6.005 siya as opposed to the males that answer 5. Their mean score is 5.92. Okay. So, in this case, females exhibit greater concerns for privacy compared to the males. But the question is, are they significantly different? Diba? In this case, hindi. Hindi. Because of our resulting F value and significance value. Now, in that case, di ba, pagtutuunan nyo ba ng pansin? That's the question. That's the question. Pagtutuunan nyo ba ng pansin? Para, di ba, lumalabas ngayon, when you put them together, 5.9 is the mean on a scale of 1 to 7. Okay, this is on a scale of 1 to 7. So, 5.9 is the mean. So, in general, they do exhibit concerns for privacy. Okay? When you put them as a group. But when you look at male and females exhibit a greater concerns for privacy compared to males. Okay? Now, the question is, will you exert effort to address the concerns of privacy of females compared to males? Will you or will you not? Hindi. Bakit? Kasi nga, the difference is not significantly enough to warrant or to require you to put in more effort, to address more the females rather than the males. Might as well put in the same effort for them because the difference is not that significant anyway. Yun yung practical implication nun. Yun yung practical information. Okay? Alright, nakuha. Any questions? Any questions so far? So let's try another variable. Okay, let's try another variable. So let's look at trust. Okay. Let's look at trust. So instead of MCFP, we look at trust. And we look at trust. So again, since you did not close SPSS, you don't need to go through everything again. You don't need to. Okay? So for trust, okay, ganon din. Okay? Trust, hindi siya significant because it's only this much. Significance is only this much. So the difference is between the two are not significant. But so who exhibits a higher trust? Okay, tendencies to trust. Sino mas trusting? Males. Okay? But only by this much, di ba? Males is 4.649, females is 4.629. Okay, so here, you can see that males are more trusting than females. But again, will you exert more effort to cultivate trust with the males compared to the females given these results? No. Bakit? Kasi nga, it's not significantly different enough. Sayang yung effort mo na mag-customize ka pa between males and females. Kasi yung difference hindi naman siya ganon ka significant. So, yun yung, di ba? Notice that you can actually eyeball it as well, di ba? Pwede mo siyang i-eyeball, di ba? The difference between 6 and 5.9, for instance, that's only a difference of less than 0.01, di ba? Or 0.1. Here, diba, the difference is just 0.02 ang difference. So even with that, pwede mo na siyang i-eyeball kung significantly different ba o hindi. But gusto mo manigurado, mag-run ka ng F-test. Mag-run ka ng F-test. So that's how you can make it that's how you can make it better. It's like saying like this na rin, diba? Parang between choosing option A in ways that would take you 15 minutes to get from point A to point B versus another one that takes you 13 minutes. Yeah, option B that would take you to the same destination with 2 minutes, at 13 minutes. Yung bang 2-minute difference sa inyo, significant ba siya o hindi? Diba? So, ganon. Okay. Alright? So ganon yung ano. Diba? So, put it into context. Diba? You can also want to put it into context. A 2-minute travel. Diba? 2-minute traveling time. Diba? As well. Okay. Is it significant or not? Diba? As opposed to say 2 minutes in playing basketball. 2 minutes is a long time, di ba? It's a long time to play basketball. So, yun lang din na you need to watch out for then. The context in which you're also analyzing the data. Alright, so yun. But again, at least, yung mga gut feeling niyo kung may difference ba o wala, this can be further justified by using ANOVA. Okay, let's try naman na yung independent variable mo, your independent variable has more than 2 values or more than 2 groups. So let's use age. So general, univariate. Okay, palitan natin to, balik natin dun sa CFP. But instead of gender, let's use age. Okay. So the question is, are the responses between age groups? Age groups, in this case, these are our age groups. So we have 7 classifications. Are there any differences when they respond? Okay, when they respond to that. So, tingnan natin. Okay. So for age, we can see that the F value is also less than 4. Okay. Ito yon. And then your significance is greater than 0.05. So in the end, hindi rin significant yung differences between the two groups. Now notice here, so 5.99, 18 to 24. So that means they are the group, this is the age group that has the greatest concern for privacy. But again, will you exert effort to address the concerns for privacy of this age group compared to the other age groups in your sample? No. No. Bakit? Kasi nga, hindi naman significant yung differences. So that means, let's say if this is a marketing campaign that would try to address concerns for privacy, you don't need a customized campaign for each segment. You can do a blanket marketing campaign that can communicate to all age groups or to both genders. Okay? So yun yung implication yun. Nakatipid ka pa sa pera. Diba? Yeah.
In terms of source, you can age, not context. Correct.
Yeah. This one. Yung age, kasi yung pinaka-age. Yung pinaka-age na variable.
So yung P is has to be less than 0.05, right?
Yeah.
And that refers to the significance.
Yeah, significance. Sorry. Yeah.
Like in the first one, like there is like 0.8.
Yeah, it's 0.825. So it's greater than 0.05. So hindi siya significant. Okay. Normally nagtatandem to eh. If the F value is greater than 4, then parang instinctively dapat by default yung P value niya supposedly automatic less than 0.05 kagad siya. Very rare na nagkakaroon ng instance wherein the F value is less than 4 but the P value is less than 0.05. Very rare na nangyayari yon. But again, if it does happen, ang magiging mas priority nyo yung P value. Kagaya nung dati. Kagaya nung last meeting. So, yung beta, yung beta versus the corresponding P value. Diba? So, between beta and P value, you look at P value. That's what you prioritize. Here, between F value and P, the priority should be on P value. So, okay? Okay. Now, let's try to look at trust naman. Okay, just to be consistent about it. Okay, so just another illustration. So let's look at trust. Okay, look at age. And then, so we see here that age, okay, age here is 4.5, okay, 4.5, and the significance is 0.011. So age does make a difference. Age, so pansinin nyo, okay, you have your data here. So you see 4.7, 4.5, 4.5, and 3.88. Okay. So that being said, in this case, then when it comes to trust, you would see that the lower age group is significantly are more trusting than compared to the other age groups. So that means, as opposed to privacy, that you're not gonna probably make some effort to customize to address their concerns for privacy. For trust, baka kailangan nyo. So it's justifiable that you spend a little bit more time to customize your approach towards making this younger age group more trusty, to gain their trust, or baliktad pala, sorry. For the older age group, because they're less trusting, for the older age groups to do so. Yes.
So is it possible that the P value is less than 0.05, but the F value is less than 3?
Yes, it's possible.
So we prioritize
P-value. P-value ang priority niya. Probably the time that it will be less than 4 if you have a smaller sample size. It's a smaller sample. In this case, we have 385, so okay lang. But probably if it's like you have probably like 200 or something, mga nasa ganun yung data nyo, nasa 200 lang siya, you can expect that the F value can be lower than 4. So between the two, P value pa rin ang mananaig. Yes.
Sinasabi ba niya yung isang cycle different from the other?
Yeah. No, amongst the three. All three na to. So kumbaga ang mangyayari dito would be you need to customize for all three. For all three na rin. Medyo problematic lang yung data na to because if you notice yung 35 to 44 is only 17. Okay, there's only 17 responses compared to the rest. So ideally then when you actually do a test of significance of differences, more or less sana equal yung groupings. Na rin.
Possible din po ba, for example, yung sa age group, hindi significant significant difference niya. For example, yung 25 to 24, hindi significant yung 18 to 24.
Yes. Posible yan.
So i-identify yung
Yes. Okay. So actually you can see it here. So hindi natin alam right now, di ba? Hindi natin alam. So we can try and that's where the post hoc test will come in. Okay? So here, if I look at this one and then I look at Duncan, if I run it again, there you go. Okay. This would tell you. Ito yun, just to address the other question. So, this would tell you na, okay, si 18 to 24 and 25 to 34, sila yung hindi significantly different. So, pwede yun silang ilump together. Si 35 to 44, since it's in a different column, then therefore, this is the one that you would customize your efforts to trust further. Okay. So, yun. Diba? As opposed to, let's say, let's go back. As opposed to, let's say, okay, para lang makita din natin yung difference. As opposed to, let's say, CFP. Since F value niya is less than 4, significance niya is greater than 0.05, you would expect that all of them would fall under one column, one subset. So, kaya, this would further tell you na hindi justifiable na mag-customize ka pa ng efforts mo. Kasi pare-pareho lang naman sila. Okay. As opposed to here, yeah, yun din yung value ng Duncan test, ng Duncan post hoc test. That it will tell you how to, if you have many groups, then how to customize them. Okay. So, yan. So ganun ba? Oh, sir, paano natin ko-customize? Oh, you can customize it this way. Yung efforts mo towards the 18 to 34, okay, hindi lang 24, 18 to 34, kasi magkakasama naman sila, ito yung pareho yung efforts mo to gain their trust. Okay? But as opposed to 35 to 44, ito yung iba. Dito ka magko-customize. Yes?
Why don't you just do that in the first place? Because if you do that, then you can see if they can all be grouped in one. So,
Yeah. I don't know for some reason bakit hindi siya hindi siya lumabas eh. Kasi alam ko kinilik ko na siya eh. Pero yes, that's suppose you can do. Usually the Duncan test is for more than if you have more than 2 groups. Pansinin niyo kanina do sa age hindi siya sa gender hindi siya lumabas kasi dalawa lang. Okay, dalawa lang. But if you have more than 2 groups or 2 groups there, then that's the time the Duncan test can be very useful. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know why it did not show up. It did not show up when I did the age. Kahit na kinilik ko na siya. Yeah. So, yan. Okay? Okay? Questions? Guys, nakuha? Nakuha, di ba? What I want you guys to also, again, like before, what I want you guys to know is not only that what to click, but also why do you do it and how to interpret it. So, nakuha? Nakuha yan? Alright. Now, here's another curveball here. The reality dictates that sometimes it's not just one dimension of ourselves that can separately influence our response. What do I mean? What we've done so far is that we assume that age and gender have independently different from one another. Pero di ba minsan ang reality is that sometimes nagbabago yung, di ba? Regardless if you're male or female, as you grow older, di ba? As you grow older, your perspectives change. Or regardless of regardless of your age, if you're female or male, dun yung nagbabago. So this is what we call an interaction effect. Meaning there might be a time wherein several characteristics of ourselves as people may have certain combinations or integration, di ba? Na hindi mo mahiwalay. It's because of the combination of such factors that can have an effect. Okay? That's why I answered like this. It's not because I'm old, it's not because I'm young, it's not because I'm male, it's not because I'm female that I answered this way, but maybe because I'm old and I'm female, for instance. That's why I answered this way. So, may ganun, di ba? That's a reality. That's a reality. And then we can find that out if it's true. And this is where MANOVA will come in. Okay? So, univariate. As opposed to univariate, let's go now for multivariate. Okay, for multivariate. And then for that matter, the reason that probably you also want to go multivariate is that, well, your theory would tell you something. In this case, some theory would tell you that trust and concern for privacy cannot be separated as well. When you talk about privacy, you talk about trust. When you talk about trust, you talk about privacy. May mga ganon instances na hindi mo maiiwasan na paghiwalayin mo yung analysis ng dalawang variable. Lagi silang magkasama. Lagi silang magkasama. So this is where we can, multivariate analysis can come in. Not to mention that, this is actually a shorter, quicker way to do analysis of variance. So what you can do for the dependent variables, You can put both at the same time. You can put both at the same time, CFP and trust together, and then you can put gender and age at the same time. That's the main difference. Everything else pareho lang. Okay, so but because of that, when you look at the model, please look at it at full factorial. Okay, once I generate the results, you'll see why. Okay. And then post hoc, we can actually do post hoc for both. So again, the Duncan test there, options. Okay. So here, this is what SPSS will now tell you. Because you have introduced more than one independent variable in the model, ito yung minention ko kanina na interaction effect. But gender times age. This is to account for the fact that we are entertaining that there's a possibility that it's a combination of your gender and your age that influences your response. Hindi lang exclusively na isang variable lang. Okay. So descriptive statistic, estimated effect size, that's probably good enough. And then we run it. So okay. Okay, so yeah. So here, what's also good about the MANOVA now will be you have probably some sort of a cross-sectional data telling you na for the males na 18 to 24, ito ang mean nila. For males that are 25 to 34, ito yung response nila. And so on and so forth. Okay? And these are the responses for concern for privacy. Sa trust, ganun din. Kumbaga nagkaroon ka ng mga in Excel, di ba? In Excel, that is something like a cross tabulation of whatnot or stratification of the data na rin. So, ito rin yung isang magandang power ni MANOVA. It can break down your responses so that you can have more specific descriptions of the data. So, male 18 to 24, ito yung response sila. At ilan sila? 81. Female na 18 to 24, ito yon. Ito yung, okay, so ito rin yun. Okay. Now, for the multivariate tests, okay, okay, here we go. So this is the one. The test in between subjects is the one that you're looking for. Okay. So for gender, you would see, whoa, what's going on? Okay, for gender, you would see that the F value for CFP is 1.49, significance of 222. Okay. But ito hindi. Okay. Okay, not significant. For TRU, also not significant. For age, the only thing that's significant is for TRU, 4.447, significant, and it's significant because it's less than 0.05. Here's the additional piece of information. The interaction effect between gender and age, okay, would show you that it's not significant. In this case, probably you can safely say that it is because only of age that trust, okay, the trust is significant. It's as far as age goes. Okay? Pero yung combination ng gender ng age, as far as trusting is concerned, hindi. So it's a way for you to either isolate a particular characteristic and say that this has an effect, or baliktad. Okay? Kasi may chances are that if you analyze them individually, hindi siya significant, but when you group them together, you have an interaction effect, then probably ito yon. Yan, may dahilan yun. So that's what you can see there. Okay. So yun. So what if let's say guluhin pa natin? Okay. Let's say dagdagan natin ng education. Okay, dagdagan natin education. Okay. what will happen? Okay, see? 'Di ba? Lalo pang nagkakaroon ng segmentation ng data mo. Male, 18 to 24, some college, no degree. Male, 18 to 24, bachelor's degree. Male, 18 to 24, master's degree. So you can have more specific descriptions of your breakdown of your data. Your data here. That's one of the things that you can see. And then test in between subjects. Okay. Test in between subjects. You can see here now that age is different. Kasi nag-introduce ka pa ng ibang variables eh. Okay? So yeah, so yun yung pwede niyong gawin. Okay? When it comes to that one. I did not look at I forgot something option, sorry. Hindi ko sinama to. Okay, so ayan. So yeah, let's put everything na lang just to be okay. So all the interaction effects. Okay, so yan. Okay, so you can see the differences. Now, of course, this does not mean na magwiwili-nili kayo at papasok nyo lahat yun just to get more descriptive data, okay? You'll end up with too much information as you can already see. Diba? 3 pa lang yung pinasok natin na independent variables, medyo malaki na yung table. Okay? So, yun. Okay, so, yeah. Okay? Hindi siya advisable na gagawin nyo lahat to na ipapasok nyo sabay-sabay yung lahat ng data ninyo. Kasi para lang naghahanap lang kayo ng data. Okay? So yeah, it's really not advisable to do that. Normally what we do here is that you can probably do 2 groups at most. That's two variables at most. Let's say age and gender, or gender and education, age and education, so on and so forth. Or group 1, group 2 versus group 3 and group 4, something like that. Pero I'm really strongly advising against putting a lot of independent variables here. Independent variables. It's not really advisable.
It's relevant.
Yeah. Saan part? This one?
Yeah, didn't they just add, parang when you added education, diba, there's an added role of gender, age, education.
Yeah. Ito?
Yeah. So why can't you just keep adding fixed variables? Because the difference of this and the one a while ago was that you added education.
Yeah.
And then there's an extra row of education. But everything else that you did a while ago is still present there.
Yeah, that's true.
So why don't you just keep adding everything?
Well, kasi ang ako naman dito, it really depends on what you want to look for. Again, I just demonstrated din na kapag dumadami, medyo mas nagiging complicated din. But at the beginning, you normally at the beginning you already have an idea what to input, what to put there. Hindi yung ganitong, kasi pag ganito ang ginawa mo, parang lumalabas nag-hunting ka, parang you're fishing for data. You're fishing for data. So, yeah.
If you're fishing for data, and then you place all the fixed variables there, and then you can see.
Yeah, you can see. You can definitely see. But it will be very cumbersome for you later on to analyze. Yeah. Normally kasi what you can is either you start with a hunch that probably let's say because let's say education. Okay, it's because education, when you learn more, you become more concerned about your privacy, something like that. When you learn more, you become more discriminating when it comes to who to trust people. Something like that. Diba yung mga ganun? Ang nakakatawa din kasi dito is that you can actually group people based on a certain observable characteristic. Okay? Kung gusto natin, gawin natin ng hugot to eh. Okay, yung mga nasaktan na versus hindi pa nasasaktan. Those are 2 groups. And then, ibangga mo sila dun sa trust. Diba? Ibangga mo sila sa trust. Let's see if there's differences in their answers. Stuff like that. Diba? You want more confirmations, they say age. Kasi alam mo, kung bata ka pa, mas hurt ka pag nasaktan ka, di ba? As opposed if you're older, then you're more jaded now when it comes to being hurt. Stuff like that. Di ba? So, may interaction ba between age and pag nasaktan ka? So yung ganon. What's important is that even in the beginning, you already kind of dictate kung ano ba talaga yung hina-hypothesize mo na pwedeng maka-influence in terms of it being the factor that would significantly be different enough. So even that, it's part of the hypothesis. You don't just simply run MANOVA and ANOVA just for the heck of it. It's still part of your objective. It's still part of your research objective with that one. So yun. So it's also not the case wherein you have a research paper and then you run factor analysis, regression, and MANOVA all at the same time and hope for a good result. Hindi ganon yun. Okay, it doesn't work that way. So it's either you do factor analysis and then you do regression, or you do factor analysis and then you do MANOVA. It's one or the other. It doesn't make your paper better if you run all of them at the same time. Okay? Unless, of course, that's the objective of your paper. Diba? So, yun din yun. Diba? Parang, okay, nakita mo nga may association, nakita mo may relationship, but at the end, I want to do further tests to see whether those hypotheses, those relationships are actually different from one another. Okay? That can be done. Okay? That can be done as well. Okay. So, yeah. So, okay. So that's also the difference from it. Now, okay. The thing about also MANOVA and ANOVA is that normally ANOVA and MANOVA is more useful if you have more than 2 groups. If you have more than 2 groups. Yes. Like 2 values in the variable. Let's say gender only has male and female. So that's 2 groups. But education has, in this case, I have 7. So that would probably mean 7 groups of respondents when you group them together. So there's a more, if you're only comparing the differences between 2 groups, then there's a simpler way to do it. You don't need to do ANOVA. ANOVA. What you can do is, you can do t-tests. Okay, t-tests. So, either you do an independent sample t-test or a paired sample t-test. Anong difference ng dalawa? I am assuming that you touched on this back on Stat 101. Nina. Yung t-test. The difference between an independent sample t-test and a paired sample t-test. Nina. Alright, here's the thing. A paired sample t-test is let's say you took a diagnostic exam at the beginning of the semester. Okay, you took a diagnostic test at the beginning of the semester, and then you get some lessons. Okay, you attend some lecture, do homework, turn in activities, and so on and so forth. And then you take a similar test. Okay, take a similar test. Okay. Lumalabas kasi pag paired sample t-test, that means that the test score, for instance, from your diagnostic test and the second test are supposedly paired together in such a way na ano yung source ng pairing? Kayo and your capacity to learn during the course. Kasi you're trying to find out whether your score in the previous exam and your score today have a relationship. Yeah, that's the assumption. Okay, that's the assumption. Okay. But as opposed to an independent sample t-test wherein there's no way that you can associate one set of numbers, one set of data to another set of data that you want to compare. To. So, yan. Medyo mahirap siyang intindihin. Okay, it's a little bit hard to it's a little bit really hard to say. But the thing is, like, okay, maybe if I show you how it works, then you'll see the difference of it. So for paired sample t-test, this is what you can see. This is what you see here. It SPSS forces you that when you, let's say, okay, CFP. So the, the answers in CFP, yeah, the answers in CFP have their direct relationship to the answers in trust. Okay, so you have to have a really good reason why you're pairing them together. Okay. The first thing probably one of the first criteria that you would assume when you want to pair them together is that they have both the same number of responses. Okay, the same number of responses. So that's one. As opposed to an independent sample t-test. Oops. Okay. Okay. Independent sample of t-test. Okay. You're not assume. Okay. This one. Okay. You probably have a test variable here, CFP, and then you have a grouping variable here, say gender. Here. Okay. If you do this using paired sample t-test, then you're assuming that the number of females and the number of males are exactly the same. Which in our case, hindi. We saw more females than males. So you cannot do paired sample here. You have to do independent. Okay, you have to do independent. So pag sa paired sample t-test, you have to be sure that the amount of data that you have is the same for the two groups that you are trying to compare or to analyze. So for independent sample t-test, then even if the number of the data is not the same, then that's fine. Use independent sample t-test. Okay. All right. So doing this, independent sample t-test. So you see here, when I put at gender, okay, when you put at gender, there's a group, there's two question marks here. So I have to define the group. When I define the group, okay, group 1, group 1 is, I think, male. Okay. Then group 2 is 2. Ano yung code na ginamit nyo? One is male, 2 is female. So have to be consistent here. And afterward, continue. Options. Yeah, that's fine. And then you can run. Okay, click it. Then see here. Okay, you do get an F test. Yeah, you do also get an F test here. But also, what's more important is the T value here. T test nga eh. So the highlighted variable here is the T value. Okay, the T value. For T value, the threshold is greater than 1.95. Sometimes some people put it at 2, greater than 2. The P value should be the same. Okay? Corresponding P value for that P value is less than 0.05. So ganun din. You can see that for gender, when you look at the T values, it's really less than, absolute value. Okay, absolute value. Absolute value of T, okay, here. Because, ang nangyari dito, kaya siya negative kasi yung second grouping variable mo is greater than, okay, the mean score of the second variable is greater than the mean score of the first variable. If it's the other way around, let's say yung mean score ng first variable mo is greater than the mean score of the second variable, this would be positive. Okay, this would be positive. But don't really worry too much about the negative, the signs of the T value. Just have to get the absolute value of it. So again, consistent with our result a while ago, you would see that gender is not significantly different enough for that one. Okay, now let me show you something again. So when you look at that, so independent t-test. Okay. Say I use another one, let's say age. Okay. I can only group 2. See, I cannot, we have how many in age? 7. And so, you cannot use t-test if you have more than 2 groups. Okay? 2 groups of respondents. Okay, so pag ganon, use ANOVA. Use ANOVA or MANOVA instead. Okay, so the t-test is only limited to 2 groups. Okay. Even yung cut point. The cut point is really more like, okay, saan mo siya, ano yung cut off mo? Saan mo i-define yung group? Okay, you can. You have 7. Ang mangyayari lang doon, let's say, if my cut point is 4, then what will happen is that it would group 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 4, 5, 6, 7. Ganun yung mangyayari. You still end up with just 2 groups. Okay. So, yan. So, the t-test is only useful if you have, let's say, 2 groups. Correct. Okay. Alright. Any questions? Any questions? Malinaw? Okay. Alright. So, again, this type of test, okay, this type of test is useful if you're looking at trying to get differences. Say if you're looking at market segments, for instance, you're looking at consumer groups, looking at different consumer groups, and then you're trying to craft up a selling strategy or a promo strategy or marketing or an advertising campaign towards that. Normally, our tendency is to the instinct is to customize it already based on those groups. Okay, based on those groups. But on the other hand, since you're spending more money on it, is it justifiable? Okay, justifiable. Or are we just looking at an homogeneous group? Yeah. Para lumalabas, the F-test would tell you that as far as these behaviors go in trust, for instance, here, then the group is homogeneous. Meaning, regardless of the demographic profile of your respondents, of your users, for instance, then there's no need to customize your campaign, your campaign to address their privacy. There's no need to tailor fit your approaches towards gaining their trust and so on and so forth. Might as well do a blanket campaign. But if you do see that probably, let's say, a market has these differences, then it would be more justifiable for you to construct a customized campaign or customized approach towards them. Yun yung silbi nun. Yun yung silbi nun. Okay? Okay, so let me pause the video. Stop recording.